Well, good evening, everybody. Thank you for joining us tonight for our Summer Camp for Cubs and Webelos webinar for 2024. I'm Chris Harold. I am the camping director for the Cascade Pacific Council, and I've been doing that since 2018. And it's been honestly one of the joys of my life, along with serving on camp staff as a much younger person. Um, with us tonight are our awesome panelists. We have Bo Henderson, who is our outdoor program and facilities director of outdoor program and facilities for the council, and we've got Deb Hildebrand, who's the what's your title for the council, Deb? Because is it outreach and something?
Impact and retention executive.
Yes, and Deb is also our program director at Butte Creek Scout Ranch this summer. I neglected to mention that Bo is our camp director for Camp Baldwin this summer, a place where he spent many years as a younger person serving on staff, and is excited to return for some of those. Not so much for the glory days, I would say, but for the excitement about what Baldwin can be for our older Cubs now. And we also have Jen Ramirez. And Jen, your title, if working full time for the council, is
Senior Impact and Retention.
awesome. Thank you. And Jen is returning as our camp director for Butte Creek Scout Ranch this summer. And as always, I should say, Chris Bartell, our director of marketing. Did I get that right, Chris? Yep. and he makes things flow nicely for all of us and keeps the information flowing and taps us on the shoulder when it's not quite flowing like it ought to. So I'm grateful for everybody taking their time tonight to be here. And I also want to express my thanks for everybody who's participating tonight, because it's January and here we are talking about summer camp. And whether you are a parent whose scout has never been to camp, or whether you are a Cub leader who hasn't taken a group to camp before, or whether you're a seasoned vet, here we know about Cub camp already. We're good to go with that stuff. We're here tonight to try and start answering questions and paint that picture of what our summer plans are for our Cubs to make them just to have a great impact on their scouting experience and beyond. So that's what we're about tonight. And so we'll have questions from time to time, I'm sure. Please use the Q&A feature at the bottom of your screen, and we'll get to those questions as they come through. We'll spend some time talking about general things before we jump into meeting each camp director and hearing a little bit about their specific plans for their Cub camp program this summer. Great. Before we jump into all that, let's start with our safety moment. It's winter still, even though we're talking about summer camp. And so starting with safety moments, I hope as you're doing in your packs and other meetings is a nice way to keep our focus on the safety of our scouts and of our program. In winter, hypothermia is a concern on our outings. And so we're talking for just a moment about the signs and the symptoms of hypothermia. And you can see those listed on the left side of the screen, that feeling cold and shivering uncontrollably, and the cold skin on the abdomen, and the presence of the umbles. I like this, the way this is phrased: the stumbles, mumbles, fumbles, and grumbles. A short story. A long time ago, I was cross-country skiing with my brother. We were in the woods near Ramona Falls by Mount Hood, if you're familiar. And the snow was about 1.5 miles, 2 miles further out down the road for our start point than what we thought it was going to be. And so as we cross-country skied in, it got dark and it got late, and the place we'd planned to camp was up the trail a ways. And fortunately, we were prepared. But when we stopped and we're going to set camp where we were, my brother was doing things that he didn't normally do. His behavior had changed, which would be, you can see the grumbles, the last one on this list. In addition, he was not doing the things he knew how to do as a scout to set up the campsite. He was doing very unimportant things. He was very not with the program. And so we got him warmed up. We got him some chili, heated up and in him, and in a matter of probably 45 minutes or so, he was good as new. But he was definitely having some outside observable signs of hypothermia. And that is one of the good things about hypothermia. It's observable. You can usually see what's happening when somebody is having changes related to cold weather. And you can see on the right side of the screen some of the care that you would give a person. Get them out of the cold, get them warm, get them a blanket, get a sleeping bag, whatever it is, take the time to do that. Often people if they're out in the winter programs and stuff, their clothing is wet, whether it's from building a snow cave or inner tubing or whatever it is. You want to get them into something dry so that their body can start regenerating that, holding that heat again. And the warm liquids and the being gentle with them and understanding, quite honestly, because they're not necessarily having their normal brain function, or will understand what's going on exactly. So you're helping them get back slowly and gently. So, and if you don't see marked improvement pretty quickly, you're going to get emergency care. And that's our safety moment for tonight. We'll come around with summer camp safety in a little bit, but this is a seasonal one that I wanted to share with you tonight. We've got a lot of upcoming events. Chris, are you good with running us through some of those?
Of course.
Thank you.
Great, my pleasure. All right, Cub Scout Super Weekend. This is going to be awesome. And actually, Jen knows actually, I should let you do a teaser about it. How about that? Is that all right?
Sure, why not? So yeah, we've got a Cub Super Weekend coming up, the first weekend in March at Camp Clark. It's going to be a ton of fun. It's going to be a racing theme. So be looking for all kinds of different derbies and races. We're talking maybe Pinewood Derby, maybe some Lego derbies as well. And of course, we'll have archery and BB open and the wonderful beach. So this is a great opportunity. Bring your pack, come out. You do get to cook and prepare your own food. Programming is minimal so that you can have that time as a pack to bond and do other activities as well. But please come join us. It's going to be a ton of fun.
Awesome. And we'll have reservations actually tomorrow. Today is the 7th of January. Tomorrow is the day we open our new reservation system, gang. So you'll see that. We'll be sending emails and communications about that as well. So it's a new system. There actually is a web page we'll send out to you that has kind of a how-to on registering for all the new stuff. The new system is fantastic and super easy, and we think you'll love it. The best part, I think, is that you can shop around and see what's available instead of actually having to log in first, unlike the old system. So it's really, really great. All right, next up, by the way, on summer camp, since we're here talking about summer camp, there is an early bird deadline for Cub Scout Summer Camp of January 31st. So if you register for summer camp before January 31st of 2024, where we're at right now, you'll save $18 per scout. So it's really, really great. Again, check this out really after tomorrow and get your registrations in for that because there are a lot of the weeks are filling up and space is limited. So check that out and save some dough. All right, the other part, this is actually really, really great. Did this myself recently in the last go around, and it is Wood Badge. This is a fantastic leader training, and you do not have to be Scouts BSA. You do not have to have older Scouts or anything like that. This is for Cub Scout adults, leaders, anyone who wants to take a totally professional level professional development training, and not just professional development as you would use even in business, but of course with your pack or your scout unit. And it is fantastic. It is 2 weekends, April 26th and May 4th. So those weekends, and it is really, really just an incredible time to really grow. I'm a Scoutmaster as well, and I learned so much of, oh, this is how you're supposed to do it. So highly, highly recommend that you do that if you have not. And ask people about it. It is fantastic. The whole program has been revamped, and it's absolutely incredible. And even if you're not a scout leader, but you're interested in just really helping out your pack and or your scout unit in the future, it's just such a great resource and tools that you'll learn there. It's really, really incredible. So check that out. It's 2 weekends at Butte Creek. The other thing that we wanted to mention is that I'm going to have Deb give a teaser about this. She literally knows all about it because she is a special person on the national program planning for all of this. So Deb, why don't you give us an update? And so this is like an inside scoop. So Deb, go ahead.
Yeah, so the entire Cub Scout program has been updated. So nothing was left untouched. So we're all new and exciting things. And the biggest thing you guys need to think about right now, because it doesn't take effect till June 1st. But for now, anybody that's an Arrow of Light leader next year, so current Webelos leaders, or anybody that might be going into that in the fall, do not work on any Arrow of Light stuff yet. Stick to the electives for your Webelos, get them those extra fun things going on. Because of the changes in the program, they are no longer going to be able to work on Webelos and Arrow of Light at the same time. So stick to the electives and have fun with those, and then start in the Arrow of Light stuff in the well, after June. So, and we will be having this whole new program as our focus for summer camp too. So anything that they're working on the summer camp will be part of the new updates instead of the old stuff.
And this is a new program. Should I be totally freaked out, Deb, that this is a new program and I'm not going to know how to do anything? Or is it
Oh,
going to be
it's
awesome?
it's designed to be super easy. Really plug and play. Not intimidating for any of your new leaders that you might be recruiting in the fall. And supposed to be super fun, easy to align if you're doing any multi-rank dens. So if you have some tigers and wolves and lions together, they made it easy to work on similar requirements all at the same time. Most of the electives, but all of the requirements are lined up that way. So it makes it very simple for anybody that does have to combine dens, because that's the reality. And if you haven't heard yet, boys and girls in the same dens now, which is awesome. Again, could be one of those that we were already doing because we had to, but now we're making it easy on you. But yeah, some super fun stuff. They are adding electives like fishing for all levels, swimming for all levels, bikes for all levels, because those things and those activities that we did in the past didn't earn everybody anything. So we want to make sure that when you take your pack camping, everybody gets something, not just the bears. Or you do a bike rodeo, everybody gets something, not just the tigers, that kind of stuff. So super fun.
It's really great. And folks in the CPC, you have a weekly email that comes out called Compass Points, and it's our email newsletter, and there are links to this in the newsletter. So check it out. It links you to some information there at scouting.org, and I think you'll love it. You will see just kind of an overview of the program, a little one sheet about it, and you'll see it is, wow, it's so much more simplified, and it's just going to make your pack run so much better, and especially from the advancement standpoint. It's really, really great. Okay, that's it for the news update. It's back to you, Chris.
Took 3 clicks on unmute. Here we go. Okay, we're back. We're into the meat and potatoes, and it gets even more meaty and potatoey as we go. Let's get started about camp this summer. I also just want to pause once more, because we can't run our Cub Scout program, of course, without the adult leaders who make it go. It's impossible. It's that framework. I would also suggest that it sets us apart from most other youth organizations because of the family aspects of it and the parental leadership, particularly in a camp environment, because you have parents who know the scouts who are there. It actually builds the pack as a community that is then cultivates friendships and all that, and things that last well beyond their Cub Scouting years. And I want to highlight that before we get going, just because the pack coming to camp together is a powerful tool for making that pack stronger in the whole year-round program. If it's at all possible, finding a time where your whole pack can come and agree, this is going to be our week, do that. That's the most effective way to use that summer camp tool. So that's the first. Let's keep going. We are blessed in our council with a huge variety of summer camps. We have properties that are just spectacular. Each and every one is as beautiful as the next, developed differently for different purposes. Anything from the winter lodges to our several Scouts BSA camps at the coast, Camp Meriwether, at Camp Pioneer up by Mount Jefferson, and Camp Baldwin on the backside of Mount Hood. We've got mountains, valley, ocean, Coast Range, Camp Cooper's out there too, as one of our camps. It's just spectacular. It's got like 120-foot waterfall in the camp. It's stunning, and just old growth stuff and deep, dense rainforest. For cubs, we have Camp Ireland and Camp Lewis and other properties that are available to us to use. And of course, the primary ones we're here to talk about tonight, Butte Creek Scout Ranch and Base Camp Baldwin for Webelos and Arrow of Light. So let's, and I shouldn't neglect family camping that can be done by individual families all summer long at Camp Clark, another beautiful, beautiful facility overlooking the ocean. Quick walk down to the beach, gorgeous woodsy setting, incredible, deep dark forest, and just a great place to go when Portland or whatever your valley town is hitting the upper 90s or even mid 80s. It's air conditioned comfort, but sit on the coast and get that breeze. So we're blessed with a great variety of properties that we work to maintain all year long so that they're available to our scouts and scouters. Next slide, please. Another important point generally about our summer camping programs is that it's safe and that it's fun. Two primary things. If it's not either, if those two things aren't happening, then the rest really doesn't matter very much. But cub camping, I don't know if it specifically started in our council, but it really launched and caught fire in our council some years ago. Cub camping, where it was overnight camping. For the longest time, cubs didn't go camping. A Webelos den could go eventually under their own leadership, but there weren't camps designed specifically for cubs and Webelos. And when that got started, we have a crew of people, many who are still around, who and active in our council, who work to develop these programs and are considered national experts in it. Even today, Deb on this call tonight is on the national committee, and Jennifer is working hard with the national folks as well as Cub Scouting is going through changes and then applying those changes specifically to our camping program. So we've done this. We got this. It doesn't make us perfect, but it does make us experienced and a great spot to land. Also, I think in this Zoom room tonight, a couple of the best creative minds that I know for developing cub camping programs are in the call with us. And sometimes that means changing the programs up, and other times that means keeping some essential things the same, or finding new ways to make them developmentally appropriate to every scout who comes to camp. And that's something that I know we're working on actively. In fact, starting on January 19th, we've got a retreat with our key camp managers to continue to develop these programs and make sure that they are dialed in. And that's in January. We're not waiting until March. We're not waiting until April, not waiting until May. We're building program now. And in fact, I know our leaders have been after it already to develop our programs and work on a real workable, nice rotation that you'll hear about in a bit. We've learned over the years how to meet the needs of our campers, and that could be whether it's food, dietary needs, mobility needs. Each camp has on-site medic, emergency procedures and medical protocols, all the safety equipment that we're both required to have and that it makes sense to have based on our experiences there. The parental involvement that's there, make sure that we have parents involved at camp who know their children, and that helps us do better as we go through the time at camp. Helps them have the support they need, but also get in a spot where they have the challenge they need, that they can continue to grow, that growth happens while they're at camp. Beyond all that, our scouting organization has youth protection measures that are second to none. Honestly, I've worked in churches, I've worked in schools, I've worked in other youth organizations, and nobody's got the youth protection thing quite as dialed in as the Boy Scouts of America. Nobody. I have no hesitation to say that. And that's important. That's crucial. And again, if that's not going right, the rest doesn't matter. The Guide to Safe Scouting gives us as adult leaders and as camp leaders tools. Here's the programs we're okay with, and here's ones we aren't. Here's the things we can and what we can't do. How do we do those things? Our staff who works at the summer camps, many of them are on the younger side. They start at age 15 and they go all the way through age whatever is still interested in working on camp staff. We just met with about 150 of them last night for the annual Christmas gathering of our camp staff, which was a great joy, because camp staff are not just joyful people, they're trained people. We spend about 9 days before campers ever arrive going through not just the physical setup of camp, but all the things of safety and program development and how do we do things? What's the drill? What's the plan? So that by the time you arrive, we have a camp staff, even though many of them are young, have marching orders, for lack of a better way of putting it. They know the plan to be able to then share the plan with you. So staff training is crucial. And then finally, it's not just us saying so. The National Camp Accreditation Program called NCAP is a tool that Scouting uses to evaluate each and every summer camp. Now, it also works for our short-term camps, but primarily it was designed to work with our long-term and summer camps. So that has, I forget how many standards, but they speak, those standards that are in there speak to program quality, staff training, facilities, and it's basically going through every aspect of camp with that neat checklist of, do we have our ducks in a row? Not just do we have the things on paper, but are we following our own plan and our own tools to make camp the best it can be. Now, those are the baseline expectations, those standards. We aspire to do well above those. And that's an important part of your camping experience, of our camp management. Finally, on that point, the folks who come into our camps to see whether we're performing as we're supposed to are folks who aren't from our council, by and large, and they come in with more objective outside eyes. And that does two things. It helps them take ideas back to their councils, and it helps us gain from their experience and expertise. And these people are very often folks well-versed in safety, whether it's via insurance or safety professionals. They're very often on our NCAP accreditation teams. So we work hard to make sure that camps are safe, that we've thought about it and worked on them all year long. This is one of the busiest months for us camping folks in the whole year, which is kind of a funny thing to say, knowing how busy summer camp season is, but it's true. It's a busy time of making sure these things are ready. Next slide, please. Folks in schools and you as parents have probably noticed some changes and challenges that youth have faced over the last few years. Many of those challenges relate to socialization, sometimes mental health, and sometimes physical activity, whether it's in your own children or in children generally. These are things that are hot button issues for us. And Scouting, and camp in particular, does many, many things to address these issues so that we're meeting the needs of the kids who are coming to our camps. And it's not just the Scouts who are coming to camp or the parents. The parents certainly benefit too, but the camp staff does as well, as they have this place where, and again, I'll refer to that holiday party we had last night. Camp staff are joyful people, and you see that when they greet each other and they're reminded of the fulfilling, enriching times that they had at camp, even though their whole point of being there is to serve. And I just want to point that out. So as our Scouts come to camp, it's giving them a toolbox, if you will, that will help them work through their youth and get the tools that they need and learn how to use them so that they become thriving adults. And that is the whole Scouting program, but also the crucible of that is summer camp. Next slide, please. When a young person joins Cubs, often they hear about camp and BB guns and bows and arrows and being in the outdoors and camping and all that kind of thing. And it makes me sad to think that some of our Cubs don't get some of those promises delivered along their way. They're promised fun, friends, adventures. And so for us to have summer camp and for us to participate together in summer camp, we're delivering on that promise. And then the community I mentioned briefly before, but you can think about the different ways that summer camp builds community when you're spending that like 3-night and 4-day time period together, or a little bit longer if you're going with the Webelos program. You're having that time of fun with other Cubs and the parents coming to know and trust each other, which for the year-round Cub program, there's nothing that beats that of having a group of parents who knows and likes each other. Let's go do Cubs together. It's going to be fun, will be the outcome. And then I don't want to hesitate at all when I share that one of the most important parts of summer camp is that the scouts and sometimes the leaders and certainly the staff will run into challenges all throughout the season and all throughout the stay there. There are challenges, whether that's the simple ones like where's the bathroom, or wow, this shower is different from the one I take at home, or it's kind of dark at night and I'm sleeping and what was that noise? It could be those kind of simple challenges to the more maybe some of the bigger ones of we're on day 3 and that overtired Cub who's I'm sharing my cabin with is really getting on my nerves, and learning to work through some of those life challenges. I don't want to. Those are important challenges that our youth learn to work through as they come to summer camp, and summer camp's just such a great place to do that. So it's a lot more than going and having a sleepover. It's a lot more than many of the other activities. It's deep. The time at camp is. We've learned that scouts who come to camp stay in scouting, and that longer term involvement in scouting gives that program time to work in them and help form their values, their morals, their character as they go forward. And as far as no left behind, I would suggest that every pack works hard to find out what it is that's stopping a Cub from going to camp. And because I don't want to look at it in sales terms, but sometimes it's a perception of what camp they think camp might be that it's not. And sometimes that's it. Sometimes it's a financial challenge where we have scholarships available and fundraisers to help a family find their way to camp. We want every Cub to go to camp because we know the impact it can have for them. And we want to help you in that process. So Cub camping does help packs grow. So we have a couple promises. We like this webinar tonight. We promise to have communication on the time from now, from whenever you sign up until the time you show up at camp, and then while you're there, and then even afterwards, like how did it go? Was it like what you thought it should be? What can we do different? Chris Bartell mentioned the new camping reservations portal that talks to a lot of our different events that we have throughout the council, and that is going to be a game changer for us just in terms of being better communication and easier for the consumer end of it to use to get all the information you need. And just like one little point with that, when you go to do your camp roster, all the youth and adults who are registered with your pack will already be in the machine, so that you can then say, okay, well, here's the ones who are going, click, click, click. Now you've got your roster. You're good to go. And you know they're registered. You know they're youth protection trained. It takes some of the administrative challenges of coming to camp out of the picture, simplifies them. Middle of most of our months between here and camp, we'll have an email coming just with camp updates, and here's some things to be thinking about, because you've got a lot to think about when you're running a Cub pack. And so having those simple reminders of, hey, remember it's the deadline for the next payment, or it's the deadline for this thing or the other thing, or just to get you through those steps of preparing for camp. Updates will be done on a regular basis. You can see those at cpcbsa.org/camp portals. If you look today, you will see mostly what was happening at camps in summer 2023. Those will get you most of the way there, but by the beginning of March, you should start seeing a lot more robust updates about here's the specific camp program that you can expect when you come this summer, that the changes will have been rolled out and put into place. It'd be a little difficult to do that right now because as I mentioned, we're having that camp retreat and looking at program improvements right now in January, but we'll get those to you as soon as we possibly can. So you can share them with the parents, other parents in the pack, and the scouts, and get their excitement up. Then right before you come to camp, there is a pre-camp meeting. Typically that is in the beginning of June, but there are also others that will be scheduled as you get a little closer to camp. So anybody, any parent can attend those to be able to get the full detail on here's what camp is, here's what to expect. You know, when you go to get ready for a trip and there's some of those last minute questions that pop up, this is a great place to get those answered. Like, oh, what is it that, where do I find that packing list? You know, whatever the thing is that is on your mind as you're preparing for camp. So our camp directors have meetings with the adult leaders and the parents coming to camp to help make sure those questions are answered and addressed. Next slide, please. And I mentioned our history of having excellent camps, but history is not much good if you don't do the things to sustain the programs that give you that reputation. So I know this team who's on the call tonight is working hard to make our class, our camps first class, not just the program, but the facilities as well. I know of some significant improvements going on, anything from shelters. There's some shelters and washstands that still need some finishing and updating that we're working on this spring. Behind the scenes, continually updating some of the gear, whether it's the kitchen gear or the safety gears or some of the stuff you'll see in the program gear, making sure that stuff is up to speed and in that's good quality stuff for you and your Cubs to use. And then program improvements, you'll hear directly from each camp director on those, but big points of emphasis are making sure that our summer camp programs are tailored to the age of the Cub who's coming to camp. Even if the whole pack comes, that there's something for everybody in their time at camp. And then in Cub Camp's famous for being a grind in terms of by the time you get to the end of your time there, you're exhausted, both parents and Cubs. And we have heard you loud and clear that time to do some choice stuff, like go back and do that other thing again that you really enjoyed doing. And so we're working hard to provide more choice time for you and your Cubs as they come to camp with us this summer. Thanks. Next slide. This list is this is an important list. This is kind of like what happens from now until camp in a way. This is like the key times. So the first thing is, if you have not made your reservation already, this is a great time to do it while that early bird discount is still in effect and you have greater choice over when you come to camp, because our sessions do fill. I think nearly all of them were full last summer. And we want to make sure that that it fits your schedule, that it fits your time availability. So when that system opens tomorrow, that's a great time to log in and check it out and call us if you're having trouble with any of that stuff. I mentioned the fundraising and scholarships. Those are things that are happening now as we plan, as our packs plan to go to camp. Again, let us know if you have questions with those things. The next date that's important is March 1st, when there's the basic deposit, a commitment payment of $100 per Cub to hold that reservation. That lets us know, okay, we estimated to start, and now we know for real, here's who's coming to camp this summer. It's not that you can't add more Cubs after that. It's just that this is a way for us to get a closer gauge of how many Cubs are we preparing for, how much food is needed, how much program supplies, how much staff, all that stuff. So it's a crucial time period there, that $100 per Cub commitment payment. And then on May 1st, and that's May 1st is a different date than it's been the last couple of years as we've worked our way through COVID, but it's rolling it back to the date that it was before, of May 1st, when the early bird deadline comes along. And that gets you a discount at our brand new online store that will be opening up on, guess what, May 1st. So you'll have that available to you and have access to have a discount at that store on whatever that purchase is for your pack. So there's some pretty cool stuff related to that. And then 2 weeks sorry, that May 1st deadline, that's to pay the PAX fees in full. I should have mentioned that. I should have actually written it on the slide, but I just recognized I didn't. So that's the pay in full date for the to receive that early bird, or not that early bird, that discount. So there's that. And then 2 weeks before camp, so if you, let's say you don't make that date and you aren't too worried about that discount, 2 weeks before you show up to camp, that's when all payments is really kind of the cutoff date for having all the payments in. And that just makes it easier when you show up at camp. You're spending less time grinding through, well, who paid what on which day, because it's already squared away with 2 weeks to spare, and everything's squared away there. And you'll want to make sure you continually update the numbers of how many cubs are coming to camp. Because we've already bought supplies and those sorts of things, there's a no refund policy on once we hit some of those certain dates there that you'll want to be aware of. So, okay, next slide. Now we get to the more meaty and potatoey bit. I like this description. The job of camp director is among the more challenging ones that I've ever done. Same with any of the jobs on camp staff, and it goes. I mean, here we are in January, and they're doing it now, and they're building programs. They're finding and hiring great staff. They're buying the stuff, managing the budget, making sure the health and safety and quality standards are met. They're planning for emergencies. They're communicating to everybody, and they smile even through all that stuff. Our camp managers are a pretty outstanding team. We're blessed to have returning camp managers at all of our camps. Bo returning after a bit of a break, but returning to camp. He's never really left, I guess would be a better way to put it. So this is our chance for each of our camp directors to share more specifics about their camp and the stuff you'll experience there. So let's go to the next slide. And I think we're going to start right out with Butte Creek Scout Ranch, and I'll turn it over to Jen.
All right. So yeah.
Chris, I saw you switch out of that. Were you going to the video for an intro?
No, totally cool. That was an accident.
Okay. Oh, okay.
All right, we're back. So yeah, we got all kinds of fun planning already happened for Butte Creek. Miss Deb and I are super excited. And just so you guys know, when we ask for that feedback at the end of the camp session, we read every single one, and we take each one to heart very seriously, because we always want to be improving. It's never perfect, right? And we've had a lot of fun the last few years kind of redesigning camp and making sure that it meets the needs of our scouts and our scouters as well. So we've got 11 sessions coming up this summer. Again, just like last year, there are some things that can't go away. We're never going to take the horses away. The fishing pond is going to be there, but we're going to make some changes to things because we need to. We got to keep it fresh, got to keep the experiences, keep new experiences every summer. And so some of the things we're looking at is making some changes to the fishing and the gold panning areas, maybe making those open time activities so that it frees up more time. That was one thing that we saw a lot in the feedback, was that PAX wanted a little bit more unstructured time. And so we are taking that into account, and we are looking for opportunities to let you guys choose your own adventure, so to speak, while you're out at Butte Creek. We're also looking at continuing to improve the fun street show. Miss Deb is looking at making a buckaroo competition, so stay tuned for that. She has also confirmed that the Get Up will be back with a new and improved and new and improved scavenger hunt. So lots of new things that we did in 2023 are going to get bumped up a notch or tweaked to make it a better fit in 2024. But of course, we're still going to have that fun Western theme. We're going to have our horses on Main Street. You'll still get to see lots of animals in action, super fun campfire programs, our BB and archery ranges that are always a big hit. So just a few things. And like Chris said, we've got a planning retreat coming up where we'll be doing even more fun plotting for some things to improve and make more fun and interactive for your scouts and for you parents as well. we value the parents and the leaders that take the time to come to camp with their kids. And so we want to make this fun for you as well. So yes, we're here for the kids, but we want our parents and scout leaders to also have a really great time while they're out at camp with us. We're also looking at bringing some things back that haven't been at camp for a few years. Some more of the more plant identifications, homesteading type activities. So some things that Butte Creek hasn't seen in a few years are going to come back into rotation and be updated for our current, or well, the upcoming new Cub program. So that's what I got.
Awesome. Thank you, Jen. Deb, did you have anything you wanted to add in terms of the program development things that you two are working on?
Not really. I gave the list to Jen, so she was covering it.
Sweet.
But I'm
Love
always,
it.
if you ever see me out and about, I've always got a notebook and I'm always writing down ideas. I was driving to the holiday party and I had my kid in the back seat. Write that down on my phone. I don't care if you spelled it right, I'll figure it out. Because we're always coming up with fun little things to add and change, and so it's
Right.
always brewing.
Nice. Well, and I like that. I like the approach that you each are taking towards making the camp program. Still having that base of that structured time of the rotation between the different stations, and this is our time at that station. A balance between that and having more of the choice time of doing the things that aren't necessarily it just provides a little bit more of a sense of there is structure, but there's also some freedom to do some of our, what are we interested in? What's that I think is going to be a nice change for everybody as you're going forward. In addition, the effort that you're putting in to differentiate between the different levels of cubbing, just so that a cub can return multiple years and have different experiences when they go. I know people go to Disneyland over and over and over with their kids, because even though not much changes there's a lot to see and a lot to do, and it's different every time. The experience is different. The people who go are different, and they go because it was fun that first time. It's worth going back to. So even if you do the same rides again, that doesn't make it a bad thing. That's actually quite a good thing. So it gives you some confidence and something to look forward to, and something to share with the younger cubs as they go and come to
I did
camp.
have one. I thought of one.
Okay.
I'm thinking about a campsite decorating competition. So you'll get some time to hang out in your campsite, meet any packs that are sharing your campsite, and decorate it, and we'll have a little special prize for the best decorated campsite. Maybe the cleanest. Maybe.
Awesome. Thank you for that. Great. Well, let's move along to Base Camp Baldwin. And Bo is our camp director there. And Bo, I will just let you lead on with what you've got for Baldwin.
Sounds great. As Chris had mentioned, we did hear you, and there are a lot of changes, and there's no place that has more changes than our Webelos program at Camp Baldwin. Many years ago, our camping program, when we ran Camp Clark and had a week-long program there, it was a great opportunity for us to really get our Webelos prepared for Scouts BSA camp. And thankfully, the National BSA has decided to rewrite the Cub Scout program at the same time that we thought we would get our Webelos ready for Scouts BSA camp again. So Baldwin will be a week-long program this year. We will start on Sunday, and we will leave Friday afternoon. And we will incorporate a lot of the new programs specifically to get our kids ready for Scouts BSA camp. The retooling of the Arrow of Light program is really focused on getting our children ready to graduate on into the next program. So we're going to take advantage of that and the extended schedule, and really work hard to deliver that program and that promise to get your kids ready. That being said, it is a Webelos camp, and we are not going to have just Arrow of Light Scouts there. So we will have different experiences for the two age level groups. that comes, so that, as Deb said earlier, everybody that goes, that participates in a program will be able to walk away with an award or recognition of some sort or the other. Baldwin is an experience where it's a little bit bigger than Butte Creek, and it takes a little bit longer to get from station to station. So with that in mind, we're going to slow it down a little bit, and not rush our schedule to try and get everything done in 3 days. We're gonna spread it out a little bit, and go a little bit more in depth than we had in the past in the different program areas. We're really excited to be able to deliver this opportunity and really turn our program into something that's going to get your kids ready for Scouts BSA in the following year. A couple of things to take note of at Camp Baldwin that we don't have at Butte Creek, because we both have the horses, because those are the best program that everybody wants to do. But Camp Baldwin has a lake opportunity, so we will have aquatic activities and aquatic rotations that happen at Camp Baldwin. Also, when we stick to strictly Webelos programs, we can do a little bit more advanced shooting sports, a little bit more advanced climbing activities and rappelling activities, and things like that, that you can't necessarily do as a younger Cub Scout. So Baldwin, with its location, gives us the opportunity to do some climbing and rappelling on some natural rock, which is a ton of fun to watch those scouts, take that leap of faith, so to speak, as they participate in that program. Our shooting sports programs will be able to actually use pellet guns, a little bit more accurate, a little bit more firepower. It's just one step up from that BB gun, and kids love it. And of course, as you know, the horses, we with a longer rotation, we'll be able to have a little bit more time with the horses, and a little bit longer experience than they had at Butte Creek. So not comparing one to the other per se, but one camp is for a little older kids, and we're trying to build that program up stage by stage, so that kids know where they're supposed to go, and they get a different, more graduated experience year after year. So we're utilizing a traditional Scouts BSA camp to give those older Cub Scouts that opportunity to move on to Scouts BSA eventually. There will be opportunity for a little bit more hiking, and Baldwin, as a Scouts BSA camp, we cook all of our own meals ourselves as the campers in the campsite. Now, we're not going to do that for every meal for our Webelos, but there will be opportunity in your campsite to prepare your own meals. We will be providing all the food, but the Scouts will have a chance to put their Iron Chef skills to the test. Nothing too extravagant, very simple things like pancakes and things like that. But it's fun just to give the kids an opportunity to take a few ingredients, put them together, and see what they can make of it. And there's no better place to do that, no safer place to do that than Scout Camp. We will be having a lot more free time and elective time than choice time than we've had in the past with our extended schedule, because we have a few more days, but we have some more advanced activities. So we do want to give folks an opportunity to go back to the program areas that they really had a great time through their natural rotation. And as the last comment on here says, there's no better place than a Scouts BSA camp to get your Webelos ready to go to Scouts BSA camp in the coming years. We have not too big of a facility, but just a little bit bigger facility for those kids, and all the activities close enough that our kids can just get that next level taste right before they get into Scouts BSA. So we're really excited about a lot of the changes that are about to happen for Webelos at Camp Baldwin this summer. And look forward to seeing you all there.
I'm going to answer one of the questions in the Q&A live. It's two of the questions actually. The dates on, can you go back, Chris, on the dates of the previous slide? That's not quite right. That's that July 9th to 12th date is not, that did not get changed. That was an error on my part. The second week of Base Camp Baldwin is scheduled for, where is that? I think it is that. Oh, I need to.
I believe it is August 4th through 9th. I think that's the
Yeah,
Sunday.
yeah. That slide is an error. Thank you for
Right.
catching it. Much
We'll
appreciated.
edit it live. Are you ready? Okay, give me the
Okay.
exact dates there.
Okay.
August 4th through 9th.
All right.
Thank you for catching that. I appreciate that very much. All right.
Boom,
Good.
it's like magic.
Wow, there we go. Good. Next slide. I want to remind you that best camps, the best camp in America can be held in a garbage dump if you've got the right staff. We won't hold any of our camps in any garbage dumps, but we do need the best staff. And we work hard every summer to convince, to talk with our existing staff, our returning staff, to bring their friends, the people that they know would be great staff to do that. But it's also important that we talk to our adult leaders who may, in the case of Cubs, have youth who are older siblings, whether or not they've been in scouting. If they're the kind of person who wants to make a difference in the lives of Cubs or Scouts, BSA, then send them to us for a summer. I would suggest that there's not a better summertime experience for a young adult once they've, well, even while they're still going through the Scouts BSA program, than to serve on the camp staff. It is intense and it's fun and it's outdoors and it's active and it's got variety in terms of what the different jobs are. Anything from the kitchen to the being the one who's being the goofy one with the singing and making their way through camp with the different things and the skits and the songs and stories. So many different kind of roles to play and so many different kinds of personalities and people can fit and develop on our camp staff. So it's a great summertime opportunity. So if you know of youth who are age 15 and up and are looking for a great experience for their summer, it's paid once you turn 16. It's paid better once you turn 18 and you're in a director position. But that's important. Oh yes, and there's if a current staff member recommends and a person who's hired and works the full summer, that current staff member gets a refer a friend bonus, another couple $100. And we've had some of our staff be quite entrepreneurial in that. And it's a nice bonus. It's a nice way to recognize the work that they went through to contribute to building our staff. So I'll finish that plug there, but I think, there's questions, there's things, if you've not been to, I'm sure you have questions and we've got ways to get them answered. We've got people who'd like to answer questions. Something I like to point out when we get to this slide is that fish that was caught on the second slide. That's a fish that was caught at Camp Baldwin. And it's not the only one. This person in particular was quite a good fisher, but he was sharing that with the youth that he brought to camp. And there's some pretty great trout in that lake to catch. So one of our best fishing lakes. So anyhow, it's pretty exciting experience there. It's not just the horses.
And don't you get to cook it and eat it right then and there in your campsite, because we cook in our campsites?
Yeah, and you get help with that.
Yeah, my kids did that. They loved it. It was awesome.
Well, supplemental. Yeah, that's good. Yeah, but you're bound to have questions as camp approaches, and we want to be there for you to answer them, whether it's digitally or the online information that's provided, or whether it's through the calls and emails and stuff that you send our way, or these webinars that will continue as we go through the spring. One thing I think that we didn't necessarily capture in the couple pictures that we shared was a little bit more of the breadth of what does the camp look like when you go there? What's kind of setting expectations for what should you expect to see and do and that kind of stuff. And Chris, if I'm not mistaken, there are a couple videos for each of those, one for each camp that we can
absolutely.
share.
We can show those here. Give me one moment here. We'll give everybody a
Great.
teaser here. That'll be fun.
Great.
For those who have not visited Butte Creek, we'll just start with that one here. Give me 1 second.
Yeah, absolutely.
This horse is going to know.
All right, let's go to the little Baldwin here.
Color guard, race colors. Yeah!
It's gonna be an extension, like a playground. Let's try to put some of those. I'm gonna hold the bit open. Since you sound nice.
Well, I just wanted to share, thank you, Chris, for sharing those, but the Baldwin one in particular, it was showing a lot of the Scouts BSA summer camp activities primarily, but you get a sense for the place, and there's just a wide variety of things, and so many things that you can do at Base Camp Baldwin that are, I guess the best word to put it would be Scouts BSA adjacent. So they're things that Scouts BSA certainly do and like to do, but they're the things to get our Webelos and Arrow of Light Scouts confident and comfortable, so that when they join that troop, they can do it with a lot more confidence. They can get in there, and it's things that they can't necessarily do at Butte Creek. The fishing's better. The horse activities are a little more advanced. The climbing that you saw in that video is not the climbing we send our Webelos and an Arrow of Light on, but there is rappelling. So there's lots and lots of things there, and the nature at Camp Baldwin is also spectacular. I was with a group of Webelos who were waiting for their turn to do the rappelling, and while we were waiting, this is last summer, while we were waiting, there was this fawn just like lit in a shaft of sunlight between several trees that I was able to say, hey, come here, look. And it was just this one of those moments, that you get when you're at camp with the Scouts, to be able to show them just that beauty that's all around us. So the camp's a lot of different things. It's a lot of different things. And so it's a joy to be able to share that with each other as we go to our camps this summer and prepare for that. And just know that we're here and around to help as you make your preparations to come to camp. Lots of people who love to help, listed on this slide, but also, just in our organization, lots of people who like to help. It's like it's one of the things helpful that we're supposed to be when we're Scouts. So there's that. Well, great. Next slide. I think that's, there we go. How to share those things. On either of those QR codes, that takes you to where you can share those things with folks in your pack, and that will help there. Either at the link that you can write down, or the QR code. And if I'm remembering right, that brings us to the end. Yeah.
That's all, folks.
That's all. All right. Well,
But
good.
seriously, you folks can scan these codes there and just and text that link to your fellow scouts, scouters, parents, kids. There are videos. There's lots of great photos and things like that. Give you a sense of the place and the space, and the kids will get excited about it. It's incredible, as Chris said. We are very, very blessed with having these incredible places where kids get to grow and blossom and adventure together. It is really incredible.
Thank you, everyone, for making time tonight. Thank you to our camp leaders for making time tonight to share their camps, and keep on scouting. Keep on scouting.
And with that, we'll close up here, and we will have a recording of this also posted, so you can share that with folks as well. And as Chris said, we will have just keep an eye out on your emails, because we will have other webinars throughout the rest of all the way almost till summer, really. So just keep an eye out for all of that. And again, tomorrow our new registration system launches, so you can search around and surf around and check things out, not just for summer camp, but all the other events and things like that. So just watch your email tomorrow, and you'll be able to see what's available and all of that, including Cub Scout Super Weekend coming up. So that's going to be awesome. All right, thanks everybody for joining us, and we will see you next time.